Welcome, everyone. Today, we are taking a deep dive into an absolutely massive shift in the artificial intelligence race. And I want to start right off with something that sounds almost impossible.
Okay, I am intrigued.
Yeah, so what if I told you that while the massive American giants, the companies you hear about every single day, what if I told you they completely dominate text-based AI, but they are actually losing the AI video race?
Wait, losing?
Losing. Right now, the tools that professional developers and, well, independent creators actually prefer to use, they are coming from Chinese short video companies, specifically companies like ByteDance, which owns TikTok and Kuaishou.
Wow. I mean, that is a massive surprise, especially considering the headlines over the past few years always, framed the U.S. as the undisputed leader in literally everything artificial intelligence.
Right, exactly.
But before we explore how this happened, let's just establish a quick ground rule for our discussion today. We have a solid stack of sources for this deep dive, including a very detailed Financial Times article and an analytical briefing document.
A lot of heavy reading for sure.
Yeah, but we are going to explain all of this without using any high-level industry jargon. There will be no complex coding talk today. We are breaking this down into plain, simple English for you.
That is a promise. Because, look, we're moving way past the era of just, typing a simple question into a text box and getting a paragraph back.
Oh yeah, the ChatGPT days are just the baseline now.
Exactly. We are entering the era of hyper-realistic video generation. And to understand why the balance of power is shifting, we really need to look at the tools creators are actually choosing. You have Kuaishou's model, which is called Kling. You have ByteDance's model called Seedance 2.0. And there's another really strong competitor from a startup called MiniMax, and that one is named Hailuo.
So as a layman looking at this, what are these creators seeing that makes them choose Kling or Seedance over the American alternatives? Like, what does a winning AI video even look like to a professional?
It mostly comes down to something that plagues almost all AI video generation: keeping the picture stable. The sources highlight an independent filmmaker named George Won, and he uses Seedance 2.0 specifically because of how it handles movement.
Movement, like just characters walking around.
More like camera movement. If you tell an AI to generate a video with a very fast camera pan or a really aggressive, sharp angle, the system usually just falls apart. The character's face will start to distort, or, the background will just melt into a messy blur.
Oh, right. I have definitely seen those weird, melty AI videos online.
Yeah, exactly. US models usually wobble or drift in those situations. But George Won notes that Seedance 2.0 handles those fast movements smoothly without ruining the lighting or warping the image.
That warping effect is so common. Actually, what this means in simple terms is that the AI doesn't truly understand three-dimensional space yet. When it generates a flat image of a person, and then the camera suddenly swings to the side, the computer basically has to guess what the side of that person's nose looks like.
Right.
And it often guesses wrong, which is why the face seems to just, melt or drift apart.
Which is terrifying, honestly.
It really is. But the Chinese models seem to hold that solid shape together much better. So simply put, it is not about which AI is smarter on paper, but which one actually works like a reliable camera.
You nailed it. Usability is beating raw technical specifications right now. If a director needs a character to run across the screen, they do not care about the underlying math, right? They just need the shot to look clean and stable.
Makes total sense.
And they hold it together so well that Kling consistently tops what is known as the Arena leaderboards. This is an independent platform where real users watch two generated videos side by side, totally blind. They don't know which company made which.
Like a blind taste test, but for video.
Exactly like a blind taste test. They just vote on which one looks more realistic. And real. Everyday humans are consistently voting for the Chinese models.
Okay, so that leads to a massive disconnect for me. If the U.S. companies have the deepest pockets, the biggest budgets and the most famous researchers, why is there such a gap? How are the Chinese models actually achieving this smoother, more realistic output?
It is a great question. And the answer lies in the fuel that actually powers the machine: proprietary data. Artificial intelligence learns by studying data, right?
Yeah, feeding it information.
Right. And for text-based AI, getting that data is relatively easy. Companies can just scrape millions of articles, books, and website pages from the internet. But video is an entirely different challenge. It is incredibly difficult to capture, clean up, and understand video at scale.
Because text is just words on a page.
Hmm.
Video is visual, it has audio that needs to match the movement of lips, and, well, it features lighting that changes as a person walks from a dark room into the sun.
There are countless moving parts happening every single second.
Right. And understanding those moving parts requires a very specific kind of training material. Which brings us to the monumental advantage that companies like ByteDance and Kuaishou have.
The short video goldmine.
Exactly. They literally own the world's largest short video platforms. They possess mountains of proprietary data.
Now, you might think, well, wait a minute. Google has a model called VO3, and they own YouTube, which obviously has endless hours of video.
Which is a fair point.
It is. But the Chinese models are trained on something very specific. They are trained on the exact fast-paced, highly engaging, bite-sized content that creators want to make today. And here's the kicker. They are not just analyzing the video itself, they are analyzing user interaction data, how humans interact with that video.
Oh, this is a crucial point. Let's think about this like learning to cook. American AI models are kind of like chefs who've been locked in a massive library reading millions of recipe books.
Okay, I like this analogy.
Right, so they know all the theory of what makes a good meal. But the Chinese AI models, they have spent the last 5 years standing inside the busiest, most successful restaurant kitchens in the entire world. They aren't just reading recipes, they are watching exactly what people actually eat and enjoy.
They see what gets sent back to the kitchen and what people actually order seconds of.
Yes, exactly. In the digital world, that means the AI knows what happens when you watch a video on your phone. If the video is slightly boring or, the movement feels unnatural, you swipe away after 2 seconds. The system logs that as a failure.
Immediate feedback.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if the video has dynamic movement and keeps your attention, you might watch it twice. The system logs that as a huge success. It is a constant real-world feedback loop, teaching the AI exactly what the human eye finds visually appealing.
So having the best data and the smoothest video is obviously a huge advantage. But having the data is one thing. Getting people to actually use the AI comes down to price and rules. And here is where the split really happens.
Okay, let's talk about the catch.
Yeah, so push the next surprising fact here. If I told you that generating a video requires vastly more computing power than generating text, I mean, that sounds obvious, right?
Sure, video is bigger than a text document.
But the sheer scale of the cost is staggering. It is so ridiculously expensive that OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, they actually paused the rollout of their famous video model, Sora.
Wait, they just stopped it.
They essentially hit a wall. It was just too expensive to run for the general public. Meanwhile, the Chinese models are letting creators jump right in and pay as you go for super cheap.
That is wild. But to understand why it's so expensive for the American companies, we have to look at how computers process this stuff. In the AI world, you frequently hear the word tokens.
No jargon, remember?
I know. We'll keep it simple. A token is just a basic unit of data. Think of it like a single puzzle piece. When an AI generates text, a word might be just 1 or 2 tokens. It is very light. The computer can handle thousands of text tokens in a second without breaking a sweat.
But video is a completely different story.
Completely different. A single frame of a video isn't 1 token. The computer has to break that one picture down into hundreds or thousands of tiny visual tokens just to understand the colors and shapes.
And a standard video has 30 frames every single second.
Exactly. So generating a simple 10-second video requires an astronomical number of tokens. Processing all of those puzzle pieces requires massive server farms, which use incredible amounts of electricity. That is why the bills got too high for the heavyweights in the U.S. to just open the doors to everyone.
Which opens a massive window of opportunity for the cheaper Chinese models. But cost is only half of the practical hurdle. The other half is the user experience, specifically the safety guardrails.
The rules.
Yeah. Ben Chiang, who is a founder from a startup called Director AI, highlighted this exact frustration. He notes that US-based AI tools constantly throw unexplained errors at him. They will simply block his request to generate a video.
Just a hard stop.
Just a hard stop. This happens because the American companies have installed incredibly strict content safety guardrails. They are terrified of the system generating something offensive, violent, or legally protected, so the system acts overly cautious. It shuts down harmless creative requests just to be safe.
So the creator's just left staring at an error message, trying to guess which random word in their request triggered the alarm.
Exactly, which completely interrupts the creative flow. But Chinese models have much looser restrictions up front. A creator can rapidly try an idea, see the result, fail, tweak their text, and try again without the system constantly putting up roadblocks. It creates a rapid trial and error process.
Wait, hold on. If the restrictions are that loose, doesn't that mean that you're just stealing copyrighted stuff?
And there it is. You just pointed out the massive catch. This is the biggest risk hanging over this entire industry.
I figured.
ByteDance has already faced serious legal heat because their users were freely generating videos featuring Marvel characters or characters from the animated show South Park.
All without any permission from the copyright owners, of course.
Yeah, copyright is the ultimate business hurdle here. Right now, because the filters are loose, the technology feels like an incredibly powerful Wild West toy. It is fun, you can make anything you imagine.
But large companies cannot build their advertising campaigns on a Wild West toy. Exactly. Not if it might get them sued by a major movie studio. If this tech wants to survive, it has to transition from being a toy into a legally compliant business tool.
Absolutely. And despite those legal risks, the money is already flowing. We are quickly leaving the era of people just making funny internet clips in their bedrooms. This technology is actively rewriting the economy of global advertising.
So from toys to billion-dollar factories, what does that commercial reality look like today?
Well, get ready for another if I told you moment, because the scale is hard to wrap your mind around. Retailers are no longer filming commercials, they are just generating them.
Completely bypassing the camera.
Yes. The sources quote Vincent Yang, the chief executive of a video infrastructure company called Firework. His assessment is super blunt. He says you simply can't tell if it's AI or human anymore.
Wow.
And because the quality is indistinguishable from reality, the volume of production is exploding. He mentioned a single retail client who requested 100,000 personalized product videos.
I'm sorry, 100,000?
Yeah.
For one company?
For one company. Impossible without AI. Think about the old-fashioned way of doing that. You need a camera crew, lighting experts, a director, actors, editors. To shoot and edit 100,000 distinct videos would cost tens of millions of dollars and take years of continuous work.
Right. Actually, what this means is we're moving from hiring a tailor to sew one expensive suit, which is traditional filming, to having a magic factory.
A magic factory. I love that.
Yeah, a factory that instantly prints a custom-fitted, totally unique suit for every single person who walks by the store window. Every single product can have its own custom video.
Exactly. If you live in a snowy climate, the AI instantly generates a video of a person using the product in the snow. If I live near the beach, it generates a video of the product in the sand. It happens in seconds.
That level of personalization is literally impossible without this technology. And the business moves happening right now really prove how valuable this is.
Oh, totally. Kuaishou might actually spin off Kling into its very own publicly traded company. It has grown so big, so fast, that it can just stand alone.
Incredible.
And meanwhile, ByteDance is charging some U.S. enterprise clients huge upfront commitments. We're talking about requiring customers to pay around $2 million just to get access to the system.
$2 million just to open the door. That shows immense confidence that their product is essential. Though, I imagine some people are finding ways around that price tag.
They are. The documents mention that some users utilize third-party platforms, like one called Be Hooked, just to bypass those massive upfront limits. But the broader point remains, the corporate world sees this as a mandatory technology.
It is a truly wild journey from where we started today.
It really is. So let's briefly recap without repeating all the details. We explored how the AI race shifted from text to video. We looked at how short video apps basically became the ultimate data gold mines because they learn from how we interact.
And we covered how these cheap, flexible tools are replacing traditional, highly expensive video production, despite the looming copyright storms.
Exactly. It completely changes how we will see the internet. But before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a final, lingering question to ponder on your own.
Give it to us.
Think back to that magic factory. Instantly generating custom commercials tailored to exactly where you live and what you like. If the cost of generating hyper-realistic, completely personalized video drops to basically zero, and brands can generate 100,000 custom videos in a single afternoon, how will you ever know if the media you are consuming was made to share a genuine human truth?
Or if it was just perfectly calculated by an algorithm to sell you something.
Exactly. It's a lot to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We will catch you next time.